Yeah, we will be taking a look at a potential 2024 Democratic presidential election primary if Joe Biden chooses to not run for re-election. Now, I do believe he will run for re-election, but in case he doesn't, there could be a primary between the current Vice President Kamala Harris and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a congresswoman from the state of New York who is extremely progressive. Now, there could be some other candidates, but for simplicity, let's just do the two of them. So let's start with the first state that I believe Kamala Harris will win, the state of Washington. Again, these states are more establishmentarian Democratic states rather than super socialist or progressive states, so this should go to Kamala Harris. The state of Oregon here. Now, Oregon could go to AOC. AOC is more progressive, and Oregon is a state that's relatively progressive. So I could see Alexandria Ocasio Cortez winning the state. Washington, it's not super establishmentarian, but it is still considered relatively establishmentarian to the point that Kamala Harris should be able to win. Now, California here, there could be some progressive Dems in some of the most urban areas, but I think most of them are still establishmentarian, so I'm going to give it to Kamala Harris. Alaska's probably going to go for Kamala Harris. I don't think AOC can do even close to well in a state like Alaska. So Hawaii here, I think that Kamala Harris will also win, just because AOC's appeal is just not going to be that strong compared to a vice president. AOC is just a congresswoman; her appeal is just not that great. Now for states that AOC could win, because she's already down quite significantly in terms of the electoral vote count, I think she can easily win the state of Vermont, extremely progressive state. I think New Hampshire as well. That is a state I think AOC could potentially pull out. The state of Massachusetts as well, I think that she could potentially win the state, given that Elizabeth Warren was able to do very well there, Bernie Sanders did really well there. There's a lot of progressive voters in the state of Massachusetts. And New York as well, I think she might be able to win the state. It is very, very close because of the fact that she is congresswoman there, but it's just the state of New York is actually a pretty establishmentarian state. It could be very close, but AOC could be able to win the state. Now going to Nevada here, back to the West Coast. Nevada, I don't think that, especially in some of these more moderate states, some of these states that are very competitive, someone like AOC will probably do very poorly. Now for the state of Arizona here, this is a very, very moderate state. The only reason why Democrats won the state in 2020 was because they ran Joe Biden, an establishmentarian Dem, rather than a very progressive Dem. So this state definitely goes to Kamala Harris. Now Utah. I'm not super sure. Again, there's not a lot of Democrats there that are going to be voting the primary. It could technically go either way, but I think just because AOC's appeal is just not as strong, I think Kamala Harris should be able to win. Now, Colorado, however, though, is a very different story. It is a very, very progressive state, and that could help someone like AOC win, and I'm going to give it to hit her by a lead margin. New Mexico here, however, is a much more establishmentarian state. For your Hispanic state, those states are typically more establishmentarian Dem. I'm going to give it to Kamala Harris. Now, Idaho here, Wyoming, Montana, these are all states that really there's not a lot of Democratic voters, but I think the Democratic voters there are definitely not socialist, progressive type of voters. These states should go to Kamala Harris. North Dakota, South Dakota, similar logic here. Nebraska is at large as well in the Great Plains. These are states that are going to vote for Kamala Harris, as well as that the 1st and 3rd district. The 2nd district could be slightly closer, but again, I think Kamala Harris should be able to win. Texas as well here, there's a lot of rural areas in the state, but those areas are not going to have any really Democratic primary voters. It's really all about the urban areas. And the urban areas will likely prefer someone like Kamala Harris, and as well as that, some of the Hispanic areas are not going to support a progressive. We saw that in the district, one of the Democratic district primaries, I believe the 28th, Henry Cuellar defeated Jessica Cisneros, the progressive candidate, in a Democratic primary, despite the fact that Henry Cuellar's home got raided by the FBI. So that should give Democrats a huge advantage. Kansas, Oklahoma here, Kamala Harris should be able to easily sweep these types of states. Mississippi as well, high black population. Kamala Harris is an Indian American woman, so she should be able to win that. I think Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, pretty much all of the rural states should be able to go for someone like Kamala Harris over someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, as well as that, I think Florida should be also going to AOC, and as well as that, should be going to Kamala Harris. Georgia as well. The only reason Democrats won Georgia is because Biden's not the worst candidate there, so he was decently liked, and Stacey Abrams helped her win the state, and those are not really progressive figures. Typically, many of these competitive states like North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, these are states that are going to prefer more establishmentarian candidates. Also, AOC's name recognition is just not as great overall. South Carolina as well, going to go for Kamala Harris. Now, AOC could end up winning some of the New England states because she is from the New England area. Kamala Harris, however, is obviously from the state of California. So I can give Rhode Island and Connecticut to potentially AOC, though her appeal may not be that strong in some of those states. New Jersey, Delaware. Delaware's Biden's home state, so I'm going to be hesitant to give it to AOC. Now, Maryland, well, it's a very liberal state, but it's not a state that's very progressive. I'm going to give it to the Democrats, the Democrat Kamala Harris, and the District of Columbia. Definitely going to go for Kamala Harris. Now, the state of Maine, I think AOC is going to win the more progressive 1st District and the at-large vote, but the 2nd District should go for Kamala Harris. Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, and the state of Virginia, these are states that have a huge rural population. The state of Virginia has been trending Democratic, but only because of establishmentarian Dems, not because of Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, these states, I mean, Democrats are not doing well in Iowa and Ohio, even with establishmentarians, but if they actually run someone like AOC, they're going to do far worse. So for that reason, I have to give these states to Kamala Harris. As well as that, Illinois is going to go for Kamala Harris as well. And as well as that, some of the Rust Belt states, these are states that only really establishmentarian Dems could actually win. Thus, I'm going to give the entire Rust Belt to Kamala Harris. So you can see that the blue is definitely dominating the green, because really Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has pretty much zero chance at a Democratic primary. Anyways, thank you for watching today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.